Welcome students. In this lecture we'll start discussion on conduction. So outline of the study on conduction, uh, here you can see the first is heat conduction equation for solid substance. Then we'll see analytical solution of 1D steady state heat conduction equation, then concept of thermal resistance, critical thickness of insulation, then we'll see the transient heat conduction, lumped system approximation, and then transient heat conduction using Hausler chart, and then we'll study of fins, and finally we'll see some numerical solutions of 2D steady state heat conduction. So let us first try to derive the heat conduction equation for solid substance. Now here in the box you can see this is what is the heat conduction equation. So this one is the heat conduction equation, but remember this is not the most general heat conduction equation or the most general energy equation. It is for this solid substance only. This is the first thing that you have to remember, for this solid substance only, because if fluid substance, you know that conduction also takes place in case of fluid, but in that case remember the energy can transfer with mass flow also, but here we have not considered that. We have not considered any work transfer effects and all that. So here remember we have only considered conduction. We have not taken any other form of energy transfer like convection or radiation, that we have not considered. So only conduction and the substance is solid. So assumptions are very, very important and you have to understand these things very well. So we are trying to derive this equation, and definitely this equation you can see is the differential equation, and definitely this equation will come from the basic energy consideration or basic concept of the first law of thermodynamics. But here remember it is the differential equation. Earlier section in the introduction part we have seen that for the control volume what will be the form of the first law of thermodynamics, but that was, remember, the integral equation, okay, applicable for a finite control volume. But here you can see the form of the equation. It's a differential equation applicable at a particular point, okay. So the question is, why heat conduction equation is at all required? The answer is that if we can solve this heat conduction equation, it is clear from the equation that the variable is temperature. So we can solve temperature as a function of x, y, z and t, okay. So x, y, z and t, these are the independent variables present in the equation, as you can see. So these three are the spatial coordinate, time is the time coordinate. So temperature as a function of the spatial variation, and with time we can find out, and this is what is called the temperature field. So temperature field means if this is a body, temperature field of this body means at any point, that means at any location x, y, z, you know what is the temperature if you mention that at which time you want to know the temperature. So as a function of x, y, z and t, at each and every point, at each and any and at any instant, you know that what is the temperature. So this is what is called the temperature field. So if you can solve this differential equation, this heat conduction equation, then you can find out this temperature field. Then you can find out this temperature field, and once the temperature field is known, then it is very simple to find out heat flux at a point using Fourier's law of heat conduction, because you know that Fourier's law of heat conduction is heat flux is proportional to the temperature gradient. So if temperature is known, temperature field is known, so it is very simple to find out the temperature gradient, hence the heat flux. And definitely you can find out what is the thermal stress distribution or the variation of thermal stress over the body, or the deformation at each and every point that you can find out. And these are very very important parameters in the uh, design. Okay, or you can also optimize many design parameters if you know the temperature field and the heat flux because of conduction. For example, in case of a steam pipe, you know the insulation is given, so what will be the thickness of insulation? To find out that, it is important to know that how heat flux is varying with the thickness and all that. Okay, so once the temperature field is solved, then all these things can be done, and hence we can optimize many design parameters like geometrical parameters. Maybe some flow parameters also can be optimized, like in case of a suppose let us consider an example of a cutting tool. Okay, so cutting tool, when used to cut a job, at that time definitely heat will be generated at the cutting zone because of shear, and then that heat will be distributed throughout the cutting tool. And as you know that with the increase of temperature, the mechanical properties of the tool changes. So to optimize that, it is required to supply the cutting fluid for both the job or the cutting tool life. So what should be the optimum value of the flow rates, that we can also predict if we know the temperature variation that is taking place within the cutting fluid due to conduction. So these are very important things regarding design if we can solve the temperature field. That is why solving the temperature field is the prime objective of this heat conduction equation. So if we solve this equation, we can find out the temperature field, heat flux, all this data. That will help us in designing many thermal equipments. Okay, so before what is the procedure of solving this heat conduction equation, let us first derive that this heat conduction equation, where from this equation of this form is coming. Okay, so as I have told you, this heat conduction equation definitely coming from either our fundamental laws or our subsidiary laws. So remember, anything that we are going to derive, any equations in the course of fluid mechanics or thermodynamics, everything must come from our fundamental laws or the subsidiary laws. So fundamental laws are what? You know, the conservation of mass, Newton's law, Newton's second law of motion, and the first law of thermodynamics or the second law of thermodynamics. These are the fundamental laws. So here definitely the conservation of energy is nothing but the first law of thermodynamics, from where the heat conduction equation is derived. So heat conduction equation is derived from the fundamental law, that is first law of thermodynamics, that you have to remember. First law of thermodynamics, which basically tells about the conservation of energy. Thermodynamics, this is the fundamental law. And definitely since we are dealing with the conduction, so subsidiary laws, that is the Fourier's law of heat conduction, that is heat flux is proportional to velocity temperature gradient, or the grad of T. That is very important. So Fourier's law of heat conduction and the first law of thermodynamics are the two laws that will give rise to this particular differential equation, that you have to keep in your mind. Okay, now let us see the conservation of energy, or the form of the first law of thermodynamics. But here it is a very simple form, the simple way of writing the first law of thermodynamics. Maybe previously we have written in a different way, but basically the same thing. If you just simply consider this is the body, remember that conservation of energy means what? That some energy can come into it. Let us consider the rate at which the energy is coming into the system or the control volume. Let us consider this is the control volume, and in the control volume energy, the rate of energy that is coming into the control volume is E dot in, and some energy let us consider going out of the control volume, that is E dot out. And remember, in general, this E dot in and E dot out can be of different ways. The energy can come into the control volume. Either they come in the control volume in the form of heat, or they can come in the form of work, or they come in the form of mass flow. Okay, so in this so this is the very general form where the energy can come into the system in these three ways. And if these two are definitely there may be some energy source also within the control volume, where maybe some energy is generating, some energy generating source may also be there within the control volume. Okay, so if that energy generating source is generating energy at the rate say Eg dot, as you can see, then what you can say is that definitely E dot in plus Eg dot, this is the what is the total energy that is added to the system, added to the control volume, minus E dot out, the energy that is going out, and this net effect will definitely change the energy storage within the control volume. Okay, so E dot st is nothing but the rate of change of stored energy within the control volume. Okay, so this is the very simple way of looking at the conservation of energy. And remember, this is what is basically the statement, one way of writing the first law of thermodynamics. Okay, very simple thing. So something is coming in, something is going out, so what remains will definitely change the storage, the rate of energy change of the storage. Okay, if something is generated also, so that term will be added here. That's all. Okay, this is what is the conservation of energy. And another one is the Fourier's law of heat conduction, that already we know. In a particular direction, let us consider in a n direction, then if Qn is the amount of energy, the rate of energy that is supplying in a particular direction is equal to minus K into A into del T del N. Del T del N is the temperature gradient in that direction. So previously, if we have seen that the heat flux, remember this heat flux quantity is basically this Q divided by area. Okay, so what has been done here, basically this is what is the rate of heat generation, which is written as minus K into area into del T del N. This area is perpendicular to the direction of N. Okay, so this is what is the Fourier's law of heat conduction, already we have seen. So these are the two things that we are going to use to derive this heat conduction equation. So let us see. First let us derive the whole thing in a Cartesian coordinate. Okay, so Cartesian coordinate, as you know, that if you consider this is a body, the large body, and in that large body, let us consider a point. Okay, so what is the coordinate of that point? The with respect to this coordinate system, let us consider this is x, this is y, and let us consider z is perpendicular to the screen. So this point is basically x, y, z. This point is x, y, z point. Okay, now from the x, y, z point, you just consider a very small element. So what is x? X is this length. What is y? Y is this length, right? And let us consider a very small length dx, which is basically tending to 0. And similarly in the y direction, let us consider the very small length dy. Similarly in the z direction, let us consider a very small length dz. Okay, so you can see that from that point you have just considered a very small small volume. That volume actually shown here. This is a very small volume considered at xyz point, and everything that we want to know is that temperature at this point, okay, at xyz. So here you can see, if you draw this particular thing in a large scale, then this is basically the figure, the large one. Here you can see this is the origin. This is not actually the origin. This is what? This is basically the position of x, y, z. That means this position. That means this position. Okay, so this position is this one. Maybe origin is here somewhere away from this point, like here. Okay, so the location at this point, the coordinate is x, y, z, and from there you have actually considered dx, dy, and dz like this. So this is what is the small control volume around a point that has been considered. Okay, I think what is this small volume you have understood. Remember, these are very small quantities which is tending to 0. So dx means that means it is a small x variation which is tending to 0, which is called dx. Okay, now we want to apply in this small differential element, in this very small differential control volume, we want to apply our conservation of energy. Okay, so conservation of energy, if we want to allow, if we want to apply here, then what was that? You can see that E dot in. Okay, so what is E dot in here? So here in the E dot in, it can be in the form of work in general, it can be in the form of mass flow, or it can be in the form of heat transfer. But here we are neglecting that there is any kind of work transfer. There is no work transfer involved here because we are considering it is a solid substance, and that is why no work transfer we are considering. But if it was a fluid substance, definitely the work associated with the pressure will act, work associated with the tangential viscous shear work will may act. Okay, so but here the work transfer is 0 because it's a solid substance. So this assumption helps us to remove this possibility of the work transfer. Then with the help of mass flow, since it is a solid substance, there is no question of the mass flow coming into the systems and going out of the system. So mass flow is also not there. And regarding the heat transfer in general can be in 3 modes, either conduction, convection, or radiation. So here we are not considering the convection, we are not considering radiation, so we are only considering conduction. That is why this equation is the conduction equation. Okay, so if we consider that, then E dot in or E dot out, these are only in the form of heat conduction, only in the form of heat conduction that is taking place. Okay, so if that is the situation, so with this within this control volume, let us consider along x direction, along x direction the heat flux that is acting, if that is the heat flux that is acting along x direction is qx double dashed. Okay, so that qx double dashed multiplied by the area. What is that area? That area is dy into dz. So this quantity, that the heat flux into area, is basically the rate of heat transfer qx. So qx quantity is what? It is the heat flux component in the x direction multiplied by the area perpendicular to that direction, which is nothing but here is this area, which is dy into dz. So this quantity is what is qx. Clear? So qx is the rate of heat transfer that is taking place along x direction. Remember, qx is a scalar quantity. And let us consider that at a distance delta x, here this location is at x, so here the location is at x plus delta x. So at this location the heat flux is q x plus delta x. Okay, so how this qx plus delta x and qx are related? It is very simple. You can write that this qx plus delta x as qx plus del del x of qx into dx. Okay, so this is what is the quantity which is called qx plus dx. Okay, why it is so? That means we have actually applied the idea of Taylor series truncation here. You can see that we have only taken this term, and the higher order terms we have neglected. We have not written the higher order terms of the Taylor series expansion, because you know that in a Taylor series what happens, if x plus h, okay, if h is very very small, then what we can write, this is basically fx plus h into f dashed x, okay, plus the other higher order term like h square by 2 factorial into f double prime x and all that. All this term will come. So here what we have done, we have in the Taylor series expansion we have only taken up to this much. We have taken up to this much only, okay, and the higher order terms we have neglected. Why we have neglected? Because this h is very very small, so those terms can be neglected. Okay, so this is what is our assumption here, because we have considered a differentially small volume, because dx is very very small. Okay, so this is what is the idea. So here basically q f x plus h is nothing but what is the value of the heat flux at x plus dx. Okay, so that what we want to find out in terms of as if q at x plus del x of qx, okay, multiplied by h. H is nothing but what? Here is dx. So that is basically written here. Okay, the so this is what is the expression qx plus dx, that is this quantity. So similarly in the y and z direction, the rate at which the heat is transferring, the rate of heat transfer, that has been shown. So those terms again can be written in exactly in a similar way. And what about the Eg dot? Eg dot is the rate of heat generation. Okay, so and E dot storage is definitely you have to write or expand E dot storage, that we'll see in the next slide. So here you can see what is E dot in minus E dot out. So the net E dot in minus E dot out, if you want to write, since qx is a scalar quantity, so simply you just write qx minus qx plus dx, qy minus qy plus dy, and qz minus qz plus dz. And as I have just told you that qx plus dx is equal to qx plus del qx del x into dx, similarly qy plus dy and qz plus dz. So if you just put all these quantities there, then things will be simplified for E dot in minus E dot out. Now what is Eg dot? Eg dot is written as per unit volume. This is what is the rate of heat which is generated. So a better symbol, I think, if you use this quantity, so q triple dot is basically the rate of heat generated per unit volume. So in few books you will find that this is written as qg. Qg indicates the volumetric rate of heat generation. This is called volumetric rate of heat generation. So volumetric rate of heat generation means per unit volume what is the rate, what is the heat that is generated per unit time. This is what is the volumetric rate of heat generation. This particular thing is symbolized in this particular in Incropera as Q dot. So what is Q dot? What is the unit of Q dot? You will understand everything. Remember, the unit of Q dot is watt per meter cube. So this is basically per unit volume at which rate heat is generated. Remember, this is the heat generation rate. Okay, so this is sometimes denoted by suffix g. Okay, or to represent per unit volume, 3 primes are sometimes given, because you know that double prime is given per unit area, single prime is given per unit length, so triple prime will be for the per unit volume. So different kinds of symbols you may find in different books, and here in Incopeda, remember, by Q dot they have actually represented per unit volume what is the rate of heat generation. So if this is the rate of heat generation per unit volume, then if you multiply it by the volume of that small control volume, differential is small control volume, that is dx dy dz, it will be the rate of heat generated within the control volume. Now what about the storage quantity? Storage quantity is very simple, that is, you know, what is the amount of if the temperature rise is a delta T, you know that mass into specific heat into temperature difference is what is the amount of energy that body will receive, right? The amount of energy the body will receive is m into Cp into the amount of temperature rise. Okay, so per unit time, what is the amount of storage? So that you have to divide it by per unit time. Okay, so when the time is tending to 0 in a differential form, this quantity will take the form del T del T. Okay, so that is why here the expression you can see that rho into Cp. So why it has been written like this, rho into Cp? You can see this density rho into the volume is nothing but what is the mass. So what is the small mass? The small mass is basically a density into its volume. So this volume, the small volume dV, is written as dx into dy into dz into density. This is mass into specific heat into del T del T. Okay, I think this part is clear to you. So this is what is the rate of energy that is storing within the control volume. So now if you arrange all these terms, so what you are going to get is that E dot in minus E dot out. If you put all these terms, you will find this will be this one. This is what is the energy generation rate. This will be that, and the storage term, the rate of storage within the control volume is this quantity. Okay, so now the next thing is just put the value of Qx. I have already told you that what is Qx. You know that Qx is nothing but the heat flux into that area, that is dy into dz, and heat flux you know from the Fourier's law of heat conduction is minus k into del T del x. Okay, so here you can see if you write minus k into del T del x, that means and here you can see in case of Qy you are writing minus k into del T del y. That means you are considering all this k are same. That means you are considering it is a isotropic material. Okay, so when you are writing all this k are same at x, y and z direction, that means you are considering isotropic material. Always remember these assumptions when we are making it. So definitely Qx will be this quantity minus k into dy dz into del T del x. Similarly Qy and Qz, you just simply put it here, and what will be the form? The form you will see is like this. Okay, so this minus and this minus sign will cancel. So del del x k del T del x, del del y k del T del y, del del z k del T del z plus q dot, because dx dy dz will cancel from all the terms. Okay, so this will be the form of the heat conduction equation for the solid substance. So this is what is the derivation, but definitely we have done it in a Cartesian coordinate system. Now see some special cases. The first one is for constant thermal conductivity. If the thermal conductivity is constant, thermal conductivity, that means K is constant. K is constant means basically what is the assumption? The K is constant means assumption is the material is homogeneous. So this is what is the assumption. If the material is homogeneous, that means with the spatial variation k will not change. Previously already we have considered that k is same in all directions. That means we have considered k is isotropic. That was inherent in this equation. But we have not yet considered that k is constant in this equation. But if we consider that k is constant, that means k is not function of x or y or z. Okay, so in that case definitely we can take out k out of this partial derivative. Similarly, k can be taken out of this partial derivatives. So what will be the form of the equation then? Then the form of the equation will be this one. So if we write the form of the equation, it will be del t del x2 plus del 2t del y2 plus del 2t del z2 plus, and k will common, so if you divide both side by k, it will be the rate of heat generation per unit volume divided by k is equal to rho Cp by k into del T del T. Okay, so this is what will be the form of the equation. So at this point one can note one very important thing, that is another property which is called the thermal diffusivity, which is denoted by alpha, is k by rho Cp. Okay, so k by rho Cp is called the thermal diffusivity of the material. So if you write this expression in terms of thermal diffusivity, so this quantity can also be written as 1 by alpha into del 2t, sorry, del T, okay, where alpha is thermal diffusivity. Physical significance of alpha is it indicates the ratio of diffusion, heat diffusion with respect to the storage. Okay, so diffusion is basically nothing but the conduction, and rho Cp basically indicates that amount of storage. Okay, so how much heat is diffused through the material with respect to how much heat is stored within the material. This particular ratio is called the thermal diffusivity. Okay, so the right hand side you can write in terms of thermal diffusivity like this. So this is what is the equation of the heat conduction equation for considering that thermal conductivity is constant. And this particular form of the equation is also called in mathematics Fourier's equation. Okay, this is also called Fourier's equation, and this is valid for the homogeneous material. Okay, now coming to the second special case where the steady state heat conduction equation. So steady state means which part is zero? This part. Steady state means with respect to time there will be no change of temperature in the control volume. So this part is going to be 0. That means there will be no storage with respect to time. That is not going to change. Energy storage is not going to change with respect to time. So this part is 0. So that is what is the steady state condition. And another thing is also there with heat generation. Okay, so heat generation term will be there, but this term will not be there. So what will be the form of the equation? The form of the equation will be like this. Along with that we are considering, suppose the constant thermal conductivity is also there. So along with, let us consider that k is also constant. Then the form of the equation will be del 2t del x2 plus del 2t del y2 plus del 2t del z2 plus q dot by k equal to 0. And this particular form of the equation in mathematics is called Poisson's equation. Okay. Next you see that steady state heat conduction equation without heat generation. Okay, so steady state heat conduction without heat generation, that means steady state. So this term in the right hand side is 0, this term, the heat generation term, is not there. So general three-dimensional steady state heat conduction equation without heat generation will be what? Again you are considering another extra one, that is it is a homogeneous and isotropic material, so K is 1. So the form will be del 2T del x2 del 2T del y2 plus del 2T del z2 is equal to 0. So this particular form in mathematics is called the Laplace equation, or simply we can write that del 2T is equal to 0. This is what is the Laplace equation in terms of vector operator, right? And this is called the Laplacian. Okay, anyway, so this is what is the form of the equation. And finally 1D steady state without heat generation. So 1D steady state without heat generation is very simple, along with the consideration that K is constant. Along with K is constant, and the form of the equation will be what? Del 2T del x2 is equal to 0. So for one dimensional steady state heat conduction equation, del 2T del x2 is equal to 0, because in y and z direction it is not there. The only important direction is the x direction if we consider. So one dimensional steady state heat conduction will take this form. So these are the different important forms of the heat conduction equation for the solid substance. Okay, let us stop it here, and the next class will continue from here.